So if you haven't been on Twitter this morning, you might have missed that Division 2 was going off on Twitter. And I want to say it was all because the Associative Creative Director Yannick came out and he addressed a lot of things. And he actually focused on the state of the game, which was a big part of the community until not too long ago. And we haven't seen the state of the game. I want to say has it been a year already? Well, it's been a while since we've heard anything from the state of the game, and he actually addressed that issue, why they decided to move on from it or put it on hold. And let's read what he had to say. He starts off with saying, there's been a lot of conversation about the state of the game in the past and more recently. So let me pull the curtain a bit and explain why we decided to put it on ice for a while. He continues on and says, there's a lot that happens behind the scenes with the state of the game. I know it probably seems improvised, and while there is always a degree of improvisation, there's a significant amount of preparation work behind every show. We have an editorial strategy that maps out the main topics of each state of the game over a certain period of time. The streaming setup needs to be in place and ready. The assets need to be prepared in the right format and stored at the right place. Some of the information needs to be gathered in advance. Stats, for examples, can take days to put together. There's a preparation of the guests if they're not already experienced, and we like to do a dry run for each show to make sure everyone is familiar with the content. Everything needs to be put in a run of a show that will be shared with our communication and marketing partners for validation. Sometimes it takes several iterations before we reach an agreement. And if you guys have been in marketing at all, you guys know this happens with everything. Before they can do anything, it needs to go through the communication and marketing partners, so that way they know what's going to be said and they're not caught off guard, or if they feel like something shouldn't be released just yet, well, they'll nix it and make them push it to another show. He continued on and says, the bottom line, it takes more than a couple devs spontaneously grabbing their webcam, chanting about anything. All of this takes time, and people can invest a major part of their working hours. And then goes on and says, the state of the game is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's great when we have many things to talk about, but when we hit a quiet period, it becomes harder to produce a weekly show with meaningful content. Then the state of the game is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's great when we have many things to talk about, but when we hit a quiet period, it becomes harder to produce a weekly show with meaningful content. We all have opinions on whether or not those empty state of the games are valuable. And you see this in the chat. Sometimes like, why are we even having a show if there's no content? And he addressed it, right? He said they need to go to sometimes through their marketing and partners to get it validated before they can release anything to us. So sometimes they just aren't able to release that information to us. Yannick says, when they created the state of the game, our intention was to have regular rendezvous between the devs and community, no matter if we have news or not, or would be here to chat and answer questions. We don't only show up to build hype, we're also here during the hard times. And he says, but no matter how much we tell ourselves it's important, at a human level, it's never easy to come to a show knowing you're going to frustrate part of the audience. Sure, chat only represents a portion of the viewers. We still come out of those questioning ourselves. And you have to think, right? That's hard on a team. That would be hard on you if you couldn't say anything about something you knew about, or even if you guys just didn't have enough information to release to us, or the communication team say, hey, look, that's just not something you guys can release. It's going to spoil what we have planned for the division. It could be tough, especially when the chat's asking for information or saying things that are hurtful. It could definitely mess with the mindset of the dev team. And I totally see what he said about that. They can come out of the state of the game just questioning themselves. Yannick says, what keeps us going is knowing that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and then soon we will come out with good and exciting news. He then addresses the new content announcement they said a while back. He says, when we announced the new content would come, we knew it would be months until we'll have anything meaningful to share. The idea of keeping State of the Game going for months without being able to share a shed of any light on new content didn't sit right and seemed disrespectful to the community. He says people would show up to the State of the Game wondering, is this the one, only to be disappointed, and time again, week after week. In the same time, Hamish moved on to another role. He was a major architect behind the state of the game, and his contributions goes way beyond just hosting it. And then also, Johan also decided to move on, which was the community dev, and he was the one taking care of the content for the state of the game, I believe. It just wasn't realistic to carry on, and it seemed like a good place to stop for a while, regroup, and look at the future. He does say he does regret that they couldn't make one final send-off show, but he finishes off and says, "So here we are months later. Will State of the Game come back when it resumes communications? He doesn't know. He hopes it will. He still believes in it. We'll need the people with the drive and time and dedication to it, and so far, they haven't found them." But he's always been very optimistic on the State of the Game returning. Now, that was actually a pretty cool thread by the associative creative director Yannick, and I applaud him for coming out and addressing everything about the state of the game, because a lot of people were always wondering what happened to it. Why didn't we get some kind of goodbye? It just kind of disappeared, and I kind of felt like I already knew the reason why they stopped doing the state of the game. They just didn't have any information they would be able to tell us, right? They didn't have anything they would officially be allowed to share with us, because a lot of it has to go through that marketing and partnership team. And you guys saw it. He wrote it, he talked about it in this thread, and it just confirms a lot of the things that I was thinking. Now, it still gets better, because he did come out and said, if you guys are looking to be the comm dev for the Division 2, well, you guys can apply for it. There is a job listing at Massive. You do have to live in Sweden at their HQ. So if you guys are interested, hey, definitely think you can fit that role. See if you guys hit the qualifications, go apply, and good luck to all of you. And we got one more surprise, because holy, this was the best part of the whole thing. Someone comes out and just says this to Yannick. Just read the bottom of it. It says, "Yannick, please just type these words. The new content is still coming." Yannick comes out and says the new content is still coming. So there it is. You guys have it official. For everybody who thought they were canceling the content, that they weren't going to bring new content for the Division 2, Yannick himself came out, confirmed it. So a lot of really cool information coming out of this. I know a lot of you guys really missed the state of the game. I honestly thought it was a great part of our community, and it was good to see him address it on why they stopped doing the state of the game, which I kind of assumed was the reason why, not only losing those two crucial pieces, those two people for the state of the game, but also just not being able to have any information to really share with us, and then just disappointing the fan base over and over and over. So it's cool to see him come out and address it. I do like him confirming that the content is still coming for everybody who thought they weren't going to continue releasing it. Hey, it's a great day to be a Division fan. The future is looking bright. It might not be right now, but we could still see new content in the near future. And then not only that, we definitely have Heartland being worked on somewhere in the mix too. So excited for all of that. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate the support, appreciate the love, but I will see you guys in the next one. Nothing But Skills is out. Take it easy, everybody.